and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this 3D printed wall hanger for headless guitars. Specifically headless guitars that have the strap button here on the back. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. And I'm not mounting it into a wall. I just want to see how it works. So I'm going to be taking this scrap piece of plywood. The screws that came with it, this is provided by a viewer, Bill Jenkins. They're a little bit long for the scrap wood. So I'm using fairly similar sized, smaller screws. I would not necessarily want to put load on these like you would those. These are much heavier duty. I just want to see how it installs because that'll make a big difference whether or not I can find a spot to put it. As you can probably see behind me, everything's kind of measured out already, so there's not really space there. The desk is sit stand, so I can't put it behind the desk. There's a bookcase next to it, so the only spot I have is like right at the entryway here. And because the guitar is going to be used for classes until I get a replacement, we'll have to leave it here. So this is just a temporary solution just to see how it works. First, this piece is what does most of the work, it seems. So if I take the strap off here, didn't mean to drop that, but I did. We can see that it will hook in to this strap button here. So in my case, the strap button is a little larger than the carb for the actual holder. So I think the second design should probably be a little bit wider than that. Let's go ahead and figure out for Bill how much wider it needs to be. Let me go ahead and grab my caliper. Okay, so I have a digital caliper here. We're going to measure the width on the inside of the actual part that holds it, and then we'll measure the width on the actual strap button. So the inside of this measures at about 12.3 millimeters. You can see that there, 12.32-ish. Okay. And the strap button on a Hills measures out at about 14.02. It's about 2 millimeters too wide. Now, I was warned about this. Bill said a friend tried to hang his guitar and they noticed it was just a little bit tight. In this case, mine won't slot into that at all without some sort of widening to it. So either I'd have to get a smaller strap button, or the better idea would be to develop the design a little bit different. Bill, you could keep the front part so that it holds everything in place, but just widen the inside, and I think that would be perfectly fine. The other part of this is kind of like a supporting hook that goes under here so that it holds the guitar up. And you use some sort of I think rubber foam in general, which has some music notes kind of like lasered into it or something. Looks pretty nice, to cushion it. I think that's good. I don't know if this foam would be good on like a nitro finish, but to be fair, unless it's a hand-built electric guitar, hand-built headless guitar, I haven't seen one that is nitro. So that being said, we can still kind of figure out how to do this. It's not going to be the best support, but we want to start with the hanging portion. So I'm going to go ahead and get you a top-down view here. Sorry about the desk being a little bit messy because I do have everything for this video on it right now. Phone's out of here. And let's put the wood over here. So, wood needs to go up, the strap button support needs to go up here. I'm not going to try and center it or anything. This is scrap wood. Just want to make sure it works. I have an electric screwdriver, which I would screw in here. Looking at the angle, it might be a little difficult to get the electric screwdriver in there, so I'm going to grab an extension real quick. Okay, had the extension with a bit in it already, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and attach that. See if this will actually fit. Yes, okay. So here, I'm going to go ahead. I want to see how the body is going to line up with that because the holder for the body needs to also be on this wood. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it in a good spot. I'm going to go a little bit further up, but otherwise center seems like it'll work. So again, just roughly going center here. Okay, that feels pretty sturdy, honestly. Even with these little screws and a piece of plywood, I think this would be perfectly fine holding it up. Drywall, these little screws will definitely not work. Anchors are the way to go. Even string swings, like you see behind me holding up those guitars, use anchors. Okay, so that is in there. Like, we're not getting that to go anywhere. Take the guitar off the hanger here. Let's see. Again, it's not going to fully slot in. So I just want to see if it hangs a little bit. I'm going to try and let it go. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of support because it's not slotting in. It's just sitting on top. So if it was slotting in, I would be fully confident that that would be fine. Honestly, I can probably widen this a little bit with my Dremel. Let's give that a try. Sorry, Bill, I don't want to hurt this beautiful thing you crafted, but I'm trying to figure out a good way to make this slot in. And that seems a little better, but it's still not going anywhere. Probably take me a little while to actually Dremel it out, so we'll just sit on it for a little bit and speed up the video. Okay, so I got it wide enough that I could forcefully slide the guitar in. Still could go wider, but that's good enough for now. So that holds on like so. I think that's pretty sturdy overall. Like, I don't feel like the guitar is going anywhere, especially since it's really snug in there. Now, let's go ahead and figure out the support on the bottom. It's like the cradle, I guess is what we could call it. This needs to be somewhere around like here. So when the guitar slots in, it stays exactly in place with this. Now we could angle this so it sits into the curve a little bit better here. We could angle the guitar more and sit it into like a curve like here. This would be very different on every guitar though, based on where the controls are. So I think here is probably going to be the best bet. So again, we'll just take some of those screws. We only need to get one of these in. Okay, now that that's in, I'm just going to kind of take the guitar out. Line's really good. I think we just need to tweak how tight that is. Whew. Gonna hurt my finger. All right, and then there's a second screw hole on here that goes there. So I'll just go ahead and put that one in real quick. Okay, so that screw's a little bit harder to do. And I think another thing that you might be able to do, Bill, is just kind of either create like a channel for the bit to kind of stick into here, so it has enough room to go back. Possibly just extend this out like another 1/4 of an inch so the screws are a little bit further away from the base here. And then again, let's go ahead and show how this works. So you would take the strap button, slide it in the top, and then the cradle would hold it there. And that would hold the guitar. I'm not going to force it down again because that was kind of a pain to get out. But that's essentially what we would have to hold the guitar. Let me go ahead and get that front back. And that's a really nice way to hold up the guitar, honestly. I think this is a great design. Like I said, just a little bit of trouble with this. But overall, you know, wall hangers for headless guitars don't always work. On the hills, we are lucky that they kind of built in this lip, so it works fine. I will say that on Strandbergs, if you want to hang them up on a string swing wall hanger, you just kind of pinch the hanger in a little bit and flip it upside down. And as long as the guitar is all the way back, you won't have any issues. I hung a Strandberg guitar on a stand like this for a year without any problem. Over a year, actually, several Stramberg guitars. The Ibanez Quest is headless. It won't work with something like this because the strap button is on the tip of the horn, not behind it. The HNS1 Hills and the HNT1 Hills both have the strap button more like not on the horn because it's not really a horn, but on the top rather than on the back. So that wouldn't work. This really works well like on the Donner NHL 500 or HLX 500, depending on where you are in the world, which I think is what Bill said he designed this for after seeing my videos on that guitar. But for the Hills, I think it works pretty nicely too on the HN3 that I have. It'll probably work on HN4 and then any of the previous generations of those. So yeah, kudos. Bill, if you decide to sell these, let me know and I'll put the links in the description. Until then, maybe there's some 3D printable like files you can download somewhere. Again, I'll link whatever I can for Bill's stuff. But thanks for sending this on over. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how it evolves.